Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, on this fantastic Thursday for what is going to be nothing short of another jam-packed daily market update with yours truly. As always, we have a hell of a lot to cover. And if you're new around here, every single day around 1 p.m. UK time, we drop an update just like this one to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening within the cryptocurrency space, but also the broader markets. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. We will be talking about the broader markets towards the latter half of the video as Stan Druckenmiller, one of the greatest investors of all time, gave an interview yesterday. And I might do a separate video on what he had to say, but one thing that I found interesting was his prediction in regards to who's going to win the election based on how the stock market looks. And he says something really interesting there that we're going to get into. I also happen to think that Donald J. Trump is going to win. And I think the markets are indeed signaling that. Certainly the cryptocurrency markets. We looked at markets can often predict future events because markets are often moved by smarter money, and they can't conceal themselves quite in the same way that a smaller player could. So if they are expecting turmoil and real escalation of certain events, then often they'll hedge their bets and sort of move out of that pre the event. Just like we looked at those small patterns for the S&P, US 100, Nvidia, MicroStrategy, and Bitcoin, that we were looking for a break of the pattern into FOMC. We got the 50 basis point rate, and we said, okay, now there's targets, higher targets. The Iran-Israel situation kicked off, and we said, actually, we don't think there's going to be an escalation of this based on the fact that markets are going higher. They probably wouldn't be under an escalation of that. But we will talk about that in the second half of the video. We'll also fly by the fact that Vitalik has now put forward another possible future for Ethereum that sees it scaling to potentially 100,000 transactions per second. Then, of course, we'll be taking a look at the markets, highlighting Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund. We've had great success in regards to being able to predict this derivative, this instrument. And we are predicting, or were predicting at one point, nearly a 10x for this instrument, certainly when it was down here, based on an inverse head and shoulders pattern that we have. We've got, a concession of inverse head and shoulders. It's often how markets will move up and down. And actually, we did the exact same thing for Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust. And now it's time for the Digital Large Cap Grayscale Digital Large Cap Trust to do the same thing. And actually, fundamentally, there's something interesting going on because Grayscale Digital Trust made its target on the Bitcoin news of the ETF. And this actually, yesterday, Grayscale applied to convert this into an ETF, which is interesting. And it has broader sort of ramifications for altcoins more broadly. So we'll be looking at all that. But really where I want to start is in regards to the Ripple, Brad and Chris versus the SEC case. Now, we know where we're at with this. You guys know I'm very bullish on Ripple as a company and XRP as a technology. I think if you're looking at money and the evolution of it, XRP and Ripple are literally everywhere. And they're the furthest ahead to actually be implemented in regards to some sort of a new monetary system. That's just my take. I think I've seen enough evidence to support that. But originally, the judge had basically gave it to Ripple and said they won on all major arguments, including the fact that XRP is not a security. That's now a thing. It's got classification, which is interesting in regards to ETFs. I know Grayscale also have applied to convert their, which makes sense if they're doing that with a digital large cap, their XRP trust into an ETF. We know that they won, and I think it was like $125 million they were essentially told to pay to the SEC, and that would be it settled. Now, the SEC have appealed that. By right, they can do that, and it goes on the Second Circuit. And the worries here is, okay, well, does that mean XRP is now going to miss out on another bull market because it's likely going to take it to go through the legal procedure, and you don't get somebody like Trump stepping in or whoever it may be? It could be Harris. I don't know who's going to win. I think Trump's going to win. Or there could be some sort of congressional law that sees it get resolved before sort of 2026, which would be the natural sort of timeline that you'd have with it. So the SEC have appealed. Another blow for the XRP community, but they can't stop what I think is very much inevitable. However, there's a lot of speculation in regards to the fact that the SEC's appeal actually wasn't filed on time. Now, this is from Jeremy Hogan himself. This is not a parody account. I've actually checked this out. Always do that because lots of parody accounts on Twitter. He's been very vocal. He's been in federal court multiple times. 3 years, he's saying here. And he's never seen this before. But he goes on to tweet, I'm trying to figure out how we got the time frame wrong, but I can't see any flaw in the logic. The C was due today, and it's not showing up on the docket. If it wasn't filed, the appeal will be dismissed, is what it says. Those are the facts as we know them. I'm hesitant because I haven't had a case in federal court in 3 years and haven't ever appealed because I've always won. It's good to be confident. Confidence and cockiness are often confused, but I think this guy's confident, not cocky. In any case, I'm going to buy 10k XRP just in case we are correct and then hit the sat. Good night, Matt. And this is a reply that he gave to somebody. This, of course, was apparently breaking. So this is a notice to council. Once you have filed your notice of appeal with the district court or the tax court, you have only 14 days in which to complete the following steps. Complete the civil appeal, file the court appeals transcript information, and pay the 505 docket fee, which of course is taxpayer money. Please note, if you do not comply with these requirements within 14 days, your appeal will be dismissed. And this is very interesting. This is another take from an individual who's an attorney, a litigator. He said, I wouldn't get too excited, so to calm everybody down, about an untimely Form C filing XRP community. It should have been filed by the 16th of October, which it hasn't, or certainly isn't showing up on the docket. That did not happen. However, the local rules of the Second Circuit states failure to comply may result in a dismissal of appeal. May. Sorry to say, the appellate courts give a lot of leeway of federal agencies. Even a lame excuse from the government is likely enough to allow the court to let it slide. So I think this has been blown up. I mean, you never know what's going to happen, the twists and turns in this case. And it's not just significant for Ripple and the XRP community, but the space more broadly. So now if you or I were a day late on filing this freaking form, our case is over and I'm calling my malpractitioner carrier shortly thereafter. In GovML, those type of rules usually don't apply. Yeah. So if it was you, they would. If it wasn't, this was some news in regards to the case. New, according to this came out today, this morning. This document filed in the Second Circuit and the SEC's notice of appeal was filed on the 2nd, but not docketed until the 4th. So it seems the real deadline is actually Friday, October the 18th, which is tomorrow at 11 p.m. And of course, this is the speculation. And it says that this is referring to the acknowledgement where the court may override the 14-day notice due, not the Form C, which seems inflexible. So maybe the SEC did mess up. And wow, I'd love to be a witness of the internal discussion if they did, but nobody seems to know. So there's a lot of interesting things going on here. There's no real clarity on it yet, and we're going to wait for it, but we're going to watch. I mean, could you imagine that in regards to the story? It'd be quite spectacular. Also news in regards to Rep Mike Flood. We like Mike Flood. He is saying Gary Gensler must be held accountable. Last month, I joined colleagues in urging the SEC to rescind SARB 121, which fundamentally changes a lot of things. It will allow banks and big institutions to essentially custody and hold crypto on their balance sheet without it working against them, which is how they have the accounting rules currently. And you can see all the individuals that are joined here. So this is the guy that we just looked at talking about, if you subpoena him and he doesn't comply, you can hold him in contempt of Congress and jail him. Very interesting. I'm sure many of us would like that in the crypto space. So this is interesting news I wanted to share with you. It's the sort of breaking news over the past 24 hours. Let's talk about the markets. We have lots of technical confluence. We cover this daily in regards to the direction Bitcoin's heading in, and we're on the cusp of breaking out of what's capped us as resistance and ultimately seeing continuation in this bull market. We think it's very, very likely resistance acting exactly as that. 1, 2, 3, 4 times a lady, as they say. You will, I believe, ultimately head to the upside or see continuation in what is a broader trend. And we've got lots of technical targets that take us there. Just resistance acting exactly as that. We've looked at the total market cap of the cryptocurrency space. We've got a bull flag here that's ultimately going to take you to $4.1 trillion. If you took this as a whole flag, which some would perhaps do, this is going to get you into the sort of $2 trillion mark, which is ultimately where we think this market is likely going in this bull market. Again, you're just, you have actually now broken out of this. You're sort of likely going to retest it and see that continuation. You're seeing a lot of this, total 2 perhaps not, but total 3, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, very much broken out of this and is likely going to sort of embark on its journey. And we're seeing altcoin support across the board. We did cover yesterday, but we really skimmed past it. What's taking place with Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund? They've now filed to convert it into an ETF. Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund, top of my head, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Sol, XRP, AVAX, and there might be a couple of others. If they get that through, that's got broader ramifications for the altcoin market, just like Ripple winning the case against the SEC. But this is we've had lots of success in regards to the Grayscale trusts. We were predicting this down here. First target met, and then we had that broader target that's been met, just like we're predicting this. And this means a great time for altcoins. And we've got lots of sort of technical reasons to expect that. I believe we got the Ethereum chart right, which of course they've got rid of. This is the Solana Trust, Chainlink Trust, Stellar Lumens Trust. They must have got rid of the Ethereum Trust, which saw inflows for the first time actually yesterday. Let's just see if we can pull that up. ETH, no, just got rid of it. ETH, no. So this is really interesting because this had a magnificent day yesterday. And ultimately think, this has now likely triggered what's going to be a broader pattern that's going to see you do exceptionally well. I mean, what's this? 600%, 700%, something along those lines. Okay, 500%. And ultimately, that's going to be a great time and a continuation of the bull market. And you've got a lot of things sort of on the cusp of that and certainly technically predicting that across the board. Miners doing extremely well. Let's talk about Stan Druckenmiller. I'm going to go ahead and play this clip, and I'm going to hope that you can all hear it. In fact, what I'm going to do is actually switch screens so that I can put it specifically on this. Stan Druckenmiller says some interesting things in regards to who he thinks is going to win the election. So what I want to do is dive into a clip of Stan Druckenmiller actually talking about who he thinks is going to win the election. And then we'll wrap the video off. And he's very bullish, I think, on the markets. The one thing that he is slightly worried about is the Fed easing too quickly. And I might do an entirely different video on Stan Druckenmiller and some of the things that he's saying more broadly. But let's go ahead and play this clip, and then we're going to wrap the video up.
Wondering what the Druckenmiller playbook is around this election cycle and what you think the most likely scenario is and how you set up for it.
Well, it's an evolving situation. If you had asked me this 12 days ago, I would have said, I don't have a clue. It's a total toss-up. I still don't have conviction who's going to win on the election. But as I said earlier, I like market indicators for the economy and for financial restrictiveness. I also like them for elections. I remember how right the market was on Ronald Reagan in 1980, despite what the pundits were saying. And I must say, in the last 12 days, the market and the inside of the market is very convinced Trump is going to win. You can see it in the bank stocks. You can see it in crypto. You can even see it in DJT, his social media company. But throughout the whole, I would say the industries that are deregulated, if we had deregulations, will benefit from Trump or outperform the others. So if you put a gun to my head, and thank God there's not one in my head, so this really doesn't matter, I would say that I would have to guess Trump is the favorite to win the election now.
We also know that from various other things. So just an interesting take there. I did want to maybe dive into the Ethereum roadmap, but I don't think we're going to get into that. Guys, on that note, I'm going to love and leave you. I want to thank you all very much for watching. Really interesting things going on in the cryptocurrency space. From a technical point of view, I think we've covered it to death. Cometh the man, cometh the hour. We're on the cusp of that next leg of this bull market. That's it from me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next.